Today on TOKKANTE, we're looking at the cost of servicing a relatively entry-level watch versus the cost of the watch itself. So is it worth it and can it be justified? So of course, if we're looking at a Rolex or an Omega or basically any watch above the $3,000 mark, it's a no-brainer that you should service your watches. But when you're looking at a watch in the sub $1,000 level or maybe even sub $500 segment, then it's not such a clear-cut decision. So we'll take the example of my Seiko Sumo first generation from 2012, and I'll give you some background about why this watch is important to me, and when we look at the pros and cons argument of servicing this watch and some of the alternatives that I could get for the same amount of money. And at the end, I really want this to be a discussion. I want you to chime in and share your opinion on whether I should or should not service this watch. Hi everyone and welcome, I'm Ben. So this is my first video of 2022, so I want to wish all my viewers a very happy new year and a lot of new watch adventures for 2022. So let's look at first some background about my Seiko Sumo. So this is a watch that I got in 2012, and before that I was not interested in watches at all, and I got into watches because of my job, and I had to basically monitor watch and jewelry editorial for LVMH and Richemont. That's what got me into watches. And so this was my first mechanical automatic watch. So it does have some sentimental value, and I think because of that I will probably never sell it. A lot of collectors start their watch collections with a Seiko, and I'm no different, so the Sumo was my first watch. And back in 2012, after discount, I paid around $700 for it. Now, this is a watch that has never been serviced. It's just shy of 10 years old now. It'll be 10 years old in February. And never been serviced, and the crystal on it, which is a hardlex crystal, not a sapphire crystal, was badly scratched when I was in a bus accident, and I was thrown against the wall of the bus, and it was scratched. So that's all I can see now. Now, this is a watch that I used to wear every day. It was my daily wearer from maybe 2012 to 2015 until I got my Rolex Datejust, and so I was wearing it every day. But I hated it on the bracelet. It had a 19 lug width and a terrible Seiko bracelet as always. So I quickly switched it to a leather strap that I had custom made. And then after that, you know, leather in Hong Kong, that didn't quite work very well. And I switched it to another bracelet. And then after I got the Rolex, I didn't really wear it anymore. And I kind of gave up on it. Especially now, I think my tastes have evolved, and I kind of like smaller or especially thinner watches. And I'm wondering whether, you know, I should just give up on this watch or not. So I tried to salvage it by putting it on this Crafter Blue vulcanized rubber strap. And I do like the look. I have to say that this is probably my favorite look of all the straps that I've put on this watch. So I like it. However, it's still not very comfortable because it's very stiff and rigid, I find. And when I wear it, I think it's fine for a few hours, but I don't even want to wear it for a whole day. So this is a watch basically now that just sits in a watch box, and it's there because it's my first mechanical watch, but I don't really wear it anymore. So should I just give up on it and, you know, forget about it? Or should I do I owe it to service it and give it some love after 10 years? So now if I look at the prices for servicing the Seiko, my conditions are that I would do an official Seiko service because I would like to upgrade the hardlex crystal to a sapphire crystal. I mean, there's no way I'm going to service the watch and then get it back still with a scratched crystal. So I would upgrade it to sapphire. I know it's possible. And I've seen online that servicing the 6R15 movement inside the Sumo is about $200 so 200 for the service and probably 100 for the crystal, and I'm sure I'm looking at over $300 to service this watch. Now, you know, I paid 700 back then for it, and now I'm gonna pay probably 350 to service it. That's about half. Is that worth it, or is it not worth it? So let's look at it. So first, the pros argument. Why should I service this watch? Well, this first generation Sumo is actually a little special. Back in 2012, the first generation Sumo was a JDM, Japan Domestic Market only watch. So now, of course, in 2022, we can order JDM watches directly from Japanese websites in English, and they deliver them to your door. But back in 2012, that was a lot more difficult. You could still do it, but you had to go on websites in Japanese and be able to read and order them, and whether that was going to be delivered to you or not, that's a whole different story. So it was a more risky and more difficult to do. I had to go to some retailers in Hong Kong and try to get them to order a JDM watch for me. And eventually I found one who could order 5 of them, and I got one. But you know, that was a lot more difficult back then to get, and I felt that it was more special. Also, this was the first generation Sumo, so it did not have the Prospex logo on it. Starting from the second generation and until now, all the Prospex Seikos have that Prospex logo on it, which I hate. Some people love it, but I happen to hate it. So I much prefer the first version with that Prospex logo. Also, it was the first watch that had the 6R15 movement that was introduced in the Seiko Sumo. And that was new for Seiko at the time. Also, this is a watch that actually looks more expensive than what it cost. And also, given that I just bought this rubber strap maybe about 6 months ago and spent about $65 US on it, since I've already spent that much money to kind of salvage it or upgrade it, I might as well, you know, service it and keep it working and keep it in good condition. And even if I don't wear it often, I could still wear it as a beater. So now for the cons argument. First, the financials. So 10 years ago, this is a watch that retailed for a little over $800 US. And I remember that I still was able to get a discount, and I paid around $700 US. Now the service, I'm guessing, is gonna cost me probably half that, let's say $350. And this is a watch that I saw online, you know, for sale pre-owned at around also $350. So basically it's costing me, you know, the same amount of money that the watch is worth now on the secondary market, or half of what I paid for it. So now, is that worth it? Also, if we look at the movement, so it has a 6R15 movement in it, which is, you know, widely inaccurate. And my watch can be like up to maybe 4 minutes off, you know, sometimes if I don't wear it. This is a movement that is not regulated by Seiko. So even if I send it to service and, you know, they clean it and put it back together, but they're still not going to regulate it. So when I get it back, this is a watch that will probably still be inaccurate. Maybe it'll run better for a while, but I'm not sure this is really worth it. Also, the fact that that's not gonna make me wear it more. Like I said, the dimensions and the discomfort of the rubber strap, etc., make it so that I don't wear it very often anymore. And even if I service it, is that going to change the fact that I don't wear it? Probably for the first week or the first month, but in the long term, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure whether that's worth it. Now, also, if we look at the $350, what alternatives can I get for that amount of money or close to that amount of money? Is it money better spent elsewhere? So, for example, I've been looking at Timex, the Timex Giorgio Galli S, which is a watch that apparently is very popular now. And if you go to their website, it's actually out of stock and you have to join the waiting list. I mean, joining a waiting list for a Timex is kind of crazy. But that's what it is, and I mostly like the case of it. It reminds me a little bit of a Moser Pioneer, or like an AP code 1159, or even Ming has those kind of lugs now, and I kind of like it. I think it's kind of cool, and it's $450. So I thought, for that money, I could get a new watch instead of servicing the Sumo. Also, Tissot PRX, everybody's talking about it. The quartz version is $375. The automatic version is $650, but you can actually get a discount, at least on the black dial. So, for $375, I could get the quartz version, which is the more authentic recreation of that 70s watch. And it wouldn't cost me a thing. I mean, the same amount of money as servicing the Sumo. Or I've been thinking also maybe upgrading the Seiko diver and getting an SPB 143. Which is, smaller, is 40.5. It has only, I think, a lug-to-lug of 46 or 47, much more wearable. I saw it in a store the other day. That's a different kind of money. It's $1,200 US new, but I saw it new at a great dealer for about $750. So, it's still about, double what I would pay for the service, but instead of servicing the Sumo, I could already have half of the budget to just get maybe a new Seiko diver that I could actually wear because it's smaller and more wearable. So, I've been looking at these options, right? And where is the money better spent? Does it make more sense to service the Sumo and not wear it, or just spend the money elsewhere? So in conclusion, let's take a step back and think, can this Sumo justify a service? And in general, all watches that are worth maybe under $500 US, are they just, pump and dump kind of watches that you should not spend money on until maybe they stop working? or should you still, service them? Is it stupid for me to spend $350 to service, this cheap Seiko? So I would like to know your opinion, maybe what you think and what you think I should do, or if you yourself service your Seikos. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching. As always, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.